Welcome to Wrestling Mind Games, the place where we explain the best that there is about pro wrestling. Today we're gonna jump straight into the topic of today, which is Chad Gable or El Grande Americano. Now, not everybody wants to talk about the fact that Chad Gable is actually the Grande Americano and it comes from the Gulf of Mexico. But yeah, I must say that I discovered that Chad Gable is actually a Grande Americano. And this has been one of his latest gimmick impersonation. I love Chad Gable. I think he's one of the best wrestlers on the roster, if not the best wrestler to this day. He really is really good also as an entertainer. He really stepped up his game the last couple of years. So before talking about a Grande Americano, let's talk about his latest year. So everybody knew that Chad Gable actually started as a part of a tag team called American Alpha. And with American Alpha, you might remember also Jason Jordan, which ended up being the son of Kurt Angle, even though a lot of people wanted actually Chad Gable to be that person. This was a very successful tag team in NXT. And then they were called up in the main roster, but then unfortunately Jason Jordan had to retire because of an injury, and he became a producer. So Chad Gable was left alone. And this is still the Vince McMahon era. So actually Chad Gable became Shorty G. You do remember this gimmick? He was feuding with Baron Corbin for a long time. He was really not happy with this position in the company, and he was very loud also with that. But as I said recently, that was a very low point for Chad Gable. But Chad Gable is a very talented individual, so he was able to convince his peers to go back to be simply Chad Gable. And people started to see in this moment similarities with Kurt Angle, something that to this day it's still part of that. Some people were still also saying that Chad Gable was the next Kurt. And during the retirement tour of Kurt Angle, Chad Gable was given a match with Kurt Angle, which was amazing. Unfortunately, again, the last match of Kurt Angle was the one with Baron Corbin, which was a failure. Nobody wanted that. I saw that live in New York. That was the WrestleMania where Becky Lynch won the first ever woman main event. Amazing WrestleMania, but that match with Baron Corbin was not the best one. But still, even though Chad Gable was not given the last match with Kurt Angle, he didn't deserve that at that stage, he started to lean into another gimmick with Alpha Academy, the one where he will say shh with his hand and will ask for silence, and the WWE Universe started to love him in this moment. They started to believe that he had something very good. And then at some point, the matches with Gunther started. At the time, the goal of Chad Gable was winning his first ever WWE single title, because he won WWE and NXT tag team titles. But still to this day, unfortunately, Chad Gable was not able to win this title. Even with that, the matches with Gunther were actually pretty good matches. I still remember that these were some of the best ones for the Gunther Intercontinental Championship run, the longest ever Intercontinental Championship run that was ever done in WWE, the best to this day about Gunther. And of course, Chad Gable was not able to defeat Gunther, was actually pictured as the underdog. And he had a very good run in that feud, but that was not enough. But we go back to El Grande Americano. So what's going on these days? Chad Gable was paired after leaving the Alpha Academy with American Made, another up-and-coming tag team, which is very good. We can see them pictured here. We also with additional Ivy Nile. So I feel that this tag team and this faction is actually something that Chad Gable needed, even though they haven't been very successful lately. But then at some point, as you all know, Donald Trump was elected as the president of the United States. So Chad Gable was given this gimmick of El Grande Americano, one wrestler which might be lost in time, and now is back after a long time away from the stage. El Grande Americano was supposed to go with Rey Mysterio, in WrestleMania, the latest WrestleMania, but this WrestleMania, Rey Mysterio got injured, so Rey Fenix got his spot, and actually Grande Americano won. And Grande Americano is actually being quite successful with his finishing move. He's wearing this mask, obviously, a Lucha Libre mask, but he's wearing a iron plate under this mask, so he's headbutting everybody. And then last night, Chad Gable, or a Grande Americano, actually was able to win a qualifying match for Money in the Bank. So now, a Grande Americano, he defeated CM Punk, AJ Styles, and is gonna go to Money in the Bank, which is great, because I believe that he has some chances to win there. Now, a lot of people are actually talking about this gimmick as a racist one, but let's analyze that for 1 second. A Grande Americano generated a lot of noise in Mexico as well. So as this article is saying, people don't like that. Especially, there is one main reason because people don't like that. These videos that launched the Grande Americano pictured the Gulf of America, which has been a big problem in terms of people talking about it in the States, because this is actually Gulf of Mexico to this day, but Donald Trump called that Gulf of America. And this is being as a very racist thing from WWE, from some people. Now, what is my take on that? I believe that WWE and wrestling in general are always over the top, and we are not new at seeing racist or almost racist gimmick. I feel that this gimmick is something that is leaning into the new era of the United States, where Donald Trump and Republicans are there in power. So WWE has always been closer to Republican than other federations, and you can see that there is a representation of mostly white men. There are not a lot of black men with titles or even represented. That actually the latest amount of people that were fired from the company, including R-Truth and Carlito, were part of the minority of the United States, so black Afro-American people and Latin people. And this Grande Americano gimmick is something that is going into that direction. So from one side, yes, I get the issue with this being a racist thing, because there is an American guy wearing a Lucha Libre mask and picturing and portraying a Mexican gimmick, using Gulf of America instead of Gulf of Mexico, and obviously being non-Mexican. So Lucha Libre is a very important thing for Mexican people, and we all know that. But this is something that, at the same time, it's part of wrestling. Using ways to make fun of things is not correct. But at the same time, if we are gonna see that at the end of the day, Chad Gable is gonna be punished, is gonna be taking his mask away, and is gonna get from some Lucha Libre and Mexican guys, for instance, during the World Collide event, or in the future, it's gonna be an happy ending. And I believe that WWE is gonna do so. It's gonna picture Chad Gable as a bad guy in the end, and it's gonna give the Mexican people the win. So at the end of the day, yes, it might be a racist gimmick, but let's give some time to the storyline to unfold, and let's see where we go from here. Thank you very much for listening to this day, and I say peace.